Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube.com. I am Michael Flecha alongside my partner in crime, Anthony the Hitman Florio. And oh my goodness, the internet and social media is still buzzing over tonight's SmackDown Live. People are heralding it as one of the better shows tonight, and it is really making life difficult for Monday Night Raw and the Raw brand. And, we're going to get into it in just a matter of minutes because of the fact that we're going to have a lot to talk about. I don't think there is one negative thing about this show. Unlike what happened last night on Ridiculously Raw, we were slamming it, panning it, ripping on it about certain things. Tonight, you are going to get the God honest truth about why we love this show. And you're going to want to stick around for our overall review, guys, because tonight we are going to give it ratings that has never been seen on Cerebral Smack Talk, and let alone on Wrestling Form in a number of years. So, with that said, let's just dive right into it. Tonight's SmackDown Live was from the Q, Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio, exclusively on the USA Network, as always. And it started off with a segment. It was a talking segment. Randy Orton by Bray Wyatt, and it was basically to dare Orton. Orton was saying how he's not afraid of things in life, and was questioning Bray Wyatt and his motives, and that maybe all these mind games is because you're afraid of me. You're afraid to get into mix it up with me, deal with the fights, deal with the brawl, deal with the battle, and Bray Wyatt comes in and started talking, really expertly try to dissect the Viper, and he dared him. He's like, you know what? Mind you, the sands of time is gonna run out on you one of these days, and when it does, you're gonna, he had the whole world in his hands and the whole 9 yards. And what happens next is Orton was on the hunt. He was gonna try to track down and try to look down on Bray Wyatt, and it started through that went throughout the night. And I don't know if we want to go like piece by piece about it, or if we should just do this in one found swoop. But whatever the case may be, this was this was as good as we could have gotten. And the thing was, Orton, he's been known not to be great on the mic. I know there's some people that doesn't like him on the mic. He's a little methodical, whatever. But I really I felt him in this storyline. I felt him in this setting. I thought he was great in this. Bray Wyatt is without a doubt the best talker in WWE, and he knows how to manipulate a situation and make it awesome. And that's what we saw here tonight. Trying to get into Orton's head, trying to play that mind games. He even referenced a little bit about his daughter briefly, and that he went there. He pushed it to that limit, and then manhunt going, and just the eeriness, the dark seclusionness. It almost felt like Ghost Hunters, or one of those programs that you see on Sci-Fi Network. Yes, I'm mentioning NBC Universal Networks because it is on NBC Universal. It had that eerie look. It had like this cinematic horror film. You don't want to go through that door. There's a nasty surprise on the other side. But Orton was smart enough not to fall into those traps. And the ultimate payoff was Orton sooner or later did get his hands on Bray Wyatt, and one of the more iconic moments I saw tonight, and I guess we could lump this all in one full segment, was Randy Orton on the chair with the sheep mask and doing "He got the whole world in his hands." I'm telling you, it was a thing of beauty. Definitely one of the segments of the night, no doubt about it. But there's one segment that's even better than this. We'll get into that in a little while. But until then, let's toss it up to the host of Ridiculously Raw, my partner in crime, Mr. Florio.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, MF, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. We're delighted to have you with us. And yes, we are determined tonight. Best Cerebral Smack Talk broadcast we've had yet. And this is how we're going to start it off. Yes, I know I've been very critical of the Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton stuff, up until tonight. Love it. That was the only, negative I had about SmackDown Live. But after what we saw tonight with every single interaction that we had, and this opening segment right here, it was the second best segment of the night. It was a fine opening segment, continuing the Orton Wyatt build and possibly leading to a confrontation later in the night. Well, we actually got one, which was great. So, and Monday Night Raw, this is how you do an opening segment. If you're gonna do an in-ring segment, an opening in-ring segment, don't let it drag on and on and on for 20 to 30 minutes. Do it within a 5 to 10 minute window. You do that, that's gonna be fine. We'll be actually more excited about that. Because this segment over here, I told Fletch this when we did our little chat tonight. We said that this did not overstay its welcome. It was short, it was sweet, and it was to the point. So, and that's all I can say really on that. And then as far as, all the other stuff goes, later in the night, all these interactions that they had tonight were really good. I can honestly say for the first time since they really started this feud, I'm actually excited about it. And we're going to get a match with these two at No Mercy. I don't know if it's going to be a straight up one-on-one match. They could make it a gimmick match. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But right now, based on what we saw tonight, that all that stuff with Orton going through the layer and the whole going through Wyatt's layer and then Orton getting the sheep mask and then getting the best of him, and then that creepy distorted vignette at the very end. Wow. All I can say is that was far and away the best, and I do mean the best Orton Wyatt build. I know there are some people. There's actually still some people out there that really didn't like this, honestly. Which I can't believe, but I can understand based on the stuff before. But what we saw tonight, the segment, like I said, second best segment of the night. It continued the Orton Wyatt build and possibly leading to a confrontation later in the night, and we got one. And everything we saw, all the other backstage stuff that we saw during the night, fantastic. Far and away the best build I've seen since they started this feud. And what else is there for me to say except No Mercy? Let's do it. Let's do Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. And hopefully we get a match this time. Hopefully we don't get what we saw at Backlash, which was the only real negative aspect of that show. But other than that, well done, Bray Wyatt. Well done, Randy Orton. This was far and away your best exchange yet. So great job. So, and this is one of the main things one of the main reasons why SmackDown is better than Monday Night Raw. I'm going to give you one right now. Storyline progression. Do I have to go any further? Let's move on, MF.
All right, and we're going to go right into the first fight of the night, and it was an 8-man tag team match. Jimmy and Jay, the Uso brothers, along with Connor and Victor, the Ascension, they went up against Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. They were ready, willing, and able of American Alpha and the reigning, defending WWE Smackdown Tag Team Champions Heath Slater and Rhino, and the winners of the bout at approximately, now I'm saying approximately because this is not official, because, times they do vary, but it's between 9 minutes and 55 seconds to over 10 minutes. The winners were the Usos and the Ascension. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
I have 9 minutes and 55 seconds on my end, but there's nothing left for me to say except I gotta say by a smidge, this was the second best fight of the night. I'm gonna give this a solid 3 stars for the effort. 3 stars. That was a good tag match with a great final stretch. They kept the continuity going between American Alpha and the Usos, and also gave the Usos a win, while also taking out the knee of Heath Slater. I am really enjoying the heel Uso team right now. I mean, their body of work since they turned them heel has gotten so much better. We've seen a much more aggressive side from them. I mean, and they even debuted a new entrance theme tonight, which I thought was really good. So I like that. It's a lot better than that other one. But yeah, I mean, and here comes the theme of the night once again. Storyline progression. It strikes again here. Holy storyline progression, Batman. We got one. We got it here in this one. American Alpha and the Usos. They're building to a tag team title feud down the road. There's no doubt about it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Usos going up against Slater and Rhino at No Mercy for those SmackDown tag belts. I got the Usos winning them. That's all there is to say. So, in my mind, it's not going to change up until we do that little preview show on October the 8th. So, that's really all I can say on that. So to me, it was a solid 3 stars. And by a smidge, I would have to say it was the second best fight of the night based on the body of work. And the Usos continue to look strong as they should. And that's really all you can say about it. Fine match, a very good match for what it was. And MF and I definitely had a lot of fun during it. So that's all there is. So solid 3 stars, second best fight of the night for me. So MF, your thoughts on this tag match? And we actually got into this one.
Yeah, we definitely got into this one. This was an amazing battle, no doubt about it. I totally agree with you, Anthony. This is a 3-star fight. This was absolutely phenomenal. I think there was really nothing bad about it. The action was fast-paced. The competition was really good. It was red hot. I think a lot of people really was going to come off this really well. And it just delivered on so many levels. And I really liked the body of work of this. And it just was, to me, it was solid and I enjoyed it. And that's what makes this show really good, is that when you get these type of actions and this type of level of competition and the excitement it was palpable in this whole building, and I loved it. I thought this was an absolute gem of a show, and I'll even openly admit it. This was it could not have been any better than what I saw here tonight. And I'm going to tell you, this was a good match. It really showed. It shined. I think that's the key word. It shined. To say the very least, I loved it. I thought it was great. Nothing more to say. Let's just move on. Everybody did their work so good. And then we had a women's tag team match. It was Naomi and Nikki Bella versus Carmella and Natalia. The winners of the bout, and Natalia. They won it when Carmella got a roll up, a 1-2-3 victory by Nikki Bella, and it was clean. I know some people were thinking, oh, they probably pulled the tights, something like that. Nope, it was not a pulling of the tights or anything else. It was a clean 1-2-3. By default, it is the worst fight of the night. However, the fall was approximately 10 minutes and 15 seconds. The reason why we're just saying it is worst fight of the night because there wasn't that much matches on the card tonight. It was very limited on a 2-hour show because you had very good stuff other than that. So To me, this is 2 to 2.25, maybe 2.5 stars. However, don't don't judge this as there was nothing bad about this match. The problem was because the other fights were so amazing, this was by default. But let me tell you, there was nothing bad about this match. All the ladies did a great job. They were far and away better tonight than Monday Night Raw's women. Let's say that. Let's call it what we see it. They out tonight, and this was amazing to say the very least. So yes, my rating is 2 to about 2.5 stars. By default, it's worst fight of the night, but let me tell you guys, there was nothing bad. This was not a ho hum diva fight. This was good quality, action packed women's action tonight. Anthony Florio, I give it to you.
I'm right there with you. By default, worst fight of the night. Wasn't remotely bad. I am, however, going to give it a solid 2 stars. That's the best I can give it. It was a solid but sloppy at times match. The good news is that it wasn't bad, in that they are continuing the lower tier angles between Natalya and Naomi and Nikki and Carmella. What's that? Storyline progression. There it is again. Carmella simply has Nikki's number right now, being a complete opportunist and taking the wins by any means necessary. So what I can see here, I think we're gonna get these 2 diva fights at these 2 women's matches at No Mercy. I think one's gonna be on the main card. I can easily see the other one being on the kickoff show. I think they're gonna put Natalya and Naomi on the kickoff show, and I think they'll put Nikki Bella versus Carmella as on the main card. Seeing that Carmella and Nikki Bella is right now the more prominent feud in the women's division between these 2 feuds. In addition, of course, to the women's championship, which we're going to get into in a little bit because something happened with that. There go those 2 words again. Storyline progression. That's going to be the theme of this show tonight. So, like I said, solid but sloppy at times bout. It wasn't bad. They're continuing lower tier angles. You got Natalya and Naomi. And you have Nikki and Carmella. Carmella simply's got Nikki's number right now. And she's being a complete opportunist and taking those wins, like the Nation of Domination always used to say, by any means necessary. So, by default, worst fight of the night, even though it was not remotely bad. So, it is a solid 2 stars for the effort. So, and hey, SmackDown Live, you're doing it again with the storyline progression. I love it. I think Natalya and Naomi on the kickoff show for No Mercy. And Nikki Bella and Carmella will be on the main card, in addition to Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss for the women's championship. So that's how I see it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it, being the man that tells it like it is. So, MF, what we're about to get into now, oh boy, are we going to have some fun with this.
You want to talk about storyline progression? This right here was not just storyline progression, but might go down as one of the greatest segments in SmackDown history. It was the Miz's homecoming reunion, his coming home party that he had at the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, and he cut a promo, and they did a nice little vignette about, his career and everything else. And he started talking about, how there was 1.3 million people celebrating the Cleveland Cavaliers' NBA World Championship, and how where was his love or his respect, and nobody really gave it to him. And then he started poking fun at Dolph Ziggler, because Ziggler's family was at ringside. His mom and dad was there, and he was gonna try to start something. Ziggler came out and gave one of the most passionate speeches we've ever heard. Florio will reiterate it in a matter of moments because he'll get to lead it off. But the biggest story of it all was this. At No Mercy in Sacramento, California, 1 week, a week and a half from now, it will be Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz in a match where if Dolph Ziggler wins, he is your new Intercontinental Champion. However, if Dolph Ziggler loses, career in WWE, or for that matter, professional wrestling, is over. Career threatening match for Dolph Ziggler. Anthony Florio, you get to lead off.
And I am so grateful that I get to lead off on what was no question about it, hands down, the segment of the night. No question about it. And since SmackDown Live became, became established and everything else, I think we're both going to agree with this. And I'm sure I'm going to get an amen from MF on this one. Hands down, the best segment in SmackDown in the short history of SmackDown Live, right here. This was absolutely phenomenal. I'm not going to lie to you. MF and I, MF told me while we were doing our SmackDown chat tonight that he was nervous about this segment because he thought, with this being a homecoming segment for The Miz and everything else, and considering how Miz can be over the top at times, he thought it was going to be, a disaster segment, somewhat of a train wreck segment. And you know what? I'm going to give you that. I was right there with you, honestly. I actually had a little bit of some doubt in my mind, a small bit. But then and then Miz talking about the city of Cleveland and, talking about the celebration for the Cavs, when the Cavs won the NBA championship back on Father's Day of this year, which we'll never forget, that Game 7 for the ages against the Warriors in Oakland. I mean, unreal. And then they had this great video package of Miz's career, dating back to his days, going as far back as his days on The Real World, for goodness sakes. When he became a household name on The Real World back on MTV. And then, they talk about everything else and, his career, all of his championship accomplishments. And when he was on the $1 Million Tough Enough back in 2004, he was the runner-up on that. He didn't win that. Daniel Puder did. Yeah, whatever happened to that guy? I have no clue. But what happened to The Miz? Well, he may not have won the $1 Million Tough Enough, but he's going on to have one of the greatest careers, whether you like him or you hate him. He has had what I consider, honestly, a Hall of Fame career. I mean, let's run it down. I mean, look what he's done in his career. Money in the Bank, multi-time Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, multi-time United States Heavyweight Champion, WWE Champion. He did that. I mean, he's done it all. I mean, Tag Team Champion, yes, and has actually had some solid matches in his career. I mean, hell, he and Ziggler had a 5-star match on the main event of all shows, for goodness sakes. Go back to right around Thanksgiving 2012. Watch that match. That was a 5-star classic. I don't care what anybody says. And this was a 5-star segment. And The Miz, of course, and Miz said, hey, I'm not that traitor LeBron James. Before they brought him back, Miz was winning the main event of WrestleMania 27, when he beat John Cena. Yes, he had help from The Rock. We all remember that. And then he mentioned his parents. Hey, Miz's parents were there, including his father, who I guess his father owns some sort of a restaurant chain in Cleveland. And then, believe it or not, Ziggler's parents were actually there too. And then Miz, said, hey, you bred a first-class elite loser. He went there, as MF would say. He went there. And when he went there, Dolph Ziggler came right out. And they said, you don't talk to my parents, my friends, or my city that way. And then Miz says, I beat you again and again. And then the whole thing. And then when Miz said, see ya, kid, I'm out of here. I'm going to go celebrate in Hollywood. And then you notice Ziggler calls him back and he says, Mike, listen, he went there. He called him by his real name. But you know what he said? But then this was really when the segment kicked into high gear. He says, Mrs., you're right. All I have is this ring, and it's my everything. I live for this. And what about when he gave each and every night and maybe even didn't get anything back? And it doesn't always love you back. His voice was cracking. You could see the emotion in that. He says, you know why I do it? I can't stop. And maybe my career didn't turn out the way I thought it would. And he thought, hey, maybe I should have been a bigger star. But he says, Miz, put it on the line one more time. And if you do it, I'll put my career on the line. And then Miz says, okay, no mercy. If I beat you, Ziggler, you're not going to Raw. You're not going to NXT. Your career is done because of me. What else is there for me to say except this? They picked the right city to do this in for sure. As the hometown crowd, in addition of both men's parents being at ringside, added to a hell of a promo segment from both guys. Miz keeps delivering us the completely unlikable heel, and Ziggler showed great and unparalleled emotion as he choked up, putting his career on the line, making you believe that all of this really meant something to him. Ziggler has been the loser and only had his career left to offer. And it's not even so much his career, if the fact that The Miz wants the chance to take it away and then be able to gloat about it. They knocked it out of the park in terms of delivery and making you care. In layman's terms, this was simply fan-flippin-tastic. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you something right now. At No Mercy, I know all the hoopla is about Styles, Ambrose, and Cena for the title. I get it. This match with The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship versus the career of Dolph Ziggler, I'm gonna go on the record right here and now. This fight is gonna steal the show. We're gonna christen a brand new, beautiful arena in Sacramento, California, the Golden One Center. We've seen it. It's a beauty. And we're gonna christen it with a show-stealing match that I think is going to be a 5-star classic. Yes, MF, you put me on the record for this. That's going to be a 5-star classic. I don't care what anybody says. Based on this 5-star segment, how can this fight not be a 5-star classic at No Mercy? It's not only going to be a 5-star classic, but I think it's going to be a contender for Fight of the Year. That's how good I think this is going to be. If they bring the effort like they did tonight, this thing's got 5 stars written all over it. Hands down. Period. End of quotation. End of statement. Segment of the night. SmackDown Live segment of the year. Knocked it out of the park in terms of delivery. And this segment right here epitomizes our two words from tonight. Storyline progression. Fan-flippin-tastic. MF, I don't know how in the world you can follow that, but I double dog dare you to follow that.
I normally I would be more than willing to take you on a challenge and try to copy you here, Florio, but unfortunately this time around I can't, and I won't even attempt, because you basically hit the nail right on the head. This was without a doubt greatest SmackDown segments I've ever seen. Maybe you can talk about that honorable one that they did for 9/11 way back when, that first live SmackDown after the terrorist attacks of 9/11, when it was in Houston, Texas at the old Summit back then. There's really nothing else that can top this. This was absolutely by far one of the best segments I ever seen, and the raw emotion of Dolph Ziggler, a super fan. Megan Silva is a big fan of Dolph Ziggler. I think she would have loved him even more after seeing what she saw tonight, if she got to see this. I don't know if she did or not, but let me tell you, man, this was unbelievable, and there was nothing bad about this segment. This whole thing was unreal, is what I could say, and it made it so good, a pleasure and a joy. And what is there to say? Nothing bad to say at all. Let's just move on. There's nothing to continue. All right. So next up, we were supposed to, it looked like it was going to be a women's match. We don't know who it was going to be, but Becky Lynch was coming out. She was going to make her way to the ring. Well, guess what? She didn't even make it to the ring because she got jumped from behind by Anthony's girl, Alexa Bliss. Yes, her birthday buddy. decided to show up out of nowhere and went all Harley Quinn on her and beat her down. Basically slammed her right on that rampway, took the women's title, and said that Becky did not deserve it, dropped the belt at the rampway, and lo and behold, we're going to have a war because these two lovely ladies are going to go at it one-on-one at No Mercy in Sacramento for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Again, the theme of the night, storyline progression. No action happened here, but it definitely was a breath of fresh air because of the fact it made it well. All right. No, now we're at our point, our main event of the evening. It was A.J. Styles putting the WWE World title on the line against Dean Ambrose. John Cena was out at ringside to do commentary with Mauro Ranallo, David Otunga, and JBL. Match at 21 minutes, 25 seconds, and still WWE World Champion, the phenomenal AJ Styles. Oh my God. Fight of the night. This was at least 4 to 4.5 stars. An amazing battle, thrilling match. We had two commercial breaks in the match. It kind of started out really slow, but once we got to the final 10 minutes after the commercials were over, oh my God, did it really pick up. Excitement galore. Yes, there was a little bit of I'm going to say a mini overbook finish because they both tried to attack John Cena. Well, they both did attack John Cena, and there was a little bit of a finish where AJ did get a roll up, a pulling of the tights for the 1, 2, 3. But you know what? I'm not even gonna argue with that. That's fine. Normally, when it's an overbooked finish, we might gripe about it, get really upset about it. This one, we didn't get upset about it. Me and Anthony, we were watching the fight. We both were marveling, like, oh my God, this is amazing. This was incredible. How awesome was this fight? We're gonna say it after the fight. Ambrose and Cena both they got into each other's face. Then Ambrose looks like he was gonna go for the dirty deeds. Nope. Cena hits him with the AA. Then AJ tried to jump Cena. As well. That didn't work. The 15-time world champion. Big fight. Rose to the occasion again. Super Cena rules the roost at the end of the night in Cleveland, dropping an AA on the WWE World Champion AJ Styles. The last image we had of the night, holding the WWE World title high over his head. What's that going to mean? Well, we're going to have to wait and find out. But for me, 4 to 4.5 stars is my rating. Fight of the night. Anthony Florio, it is all yours, my friend.
Can't quite give it 4.5 MF, but I will meet you halfway. I do agree with you. It is the fight of the night, hands down, no doubt about it. I'm going to go down just a smidge. I definitely agree with you on the 4, but if we're going to go higher than 4, the most I could go would be 4.25. But I think 4 to 4.25 stars is the appropriate rating for this bout. I 100% agree with you. It was hands down the fight of the night, no question about it. And as I pull up my liner notes that I had on this one, that was an overall excellent match with both guys delivering. In some ways, they did better than the Backlash match, as they took away things that didn't work in that match and maximized what did work. The match had a good flow, build well throughout, and they did a great job of getting the crowd involved and buying into the near falls. The finish worked to not only protect Ambrose in the loss, but to also add good heat to the triple threat at No Mercy. With John Cena showing up, with Cena, laying out both Ambrose and Styles with AAs, and the whole Super Cena and everything else. Styles pulling the tights and getting the win. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the finish worked to not only protect Ambrose in the loss, but it adds good heat to the triple threat at No Mercy. Honestly, before going into the show tonight, if you're going to ask me if you're going to say, okay, Florio, what do you think is going to be the best fight at No Mercy? I would have said this one. But after what we saw from The Miz and Ziggler tonight, my mind has been changed. I think Miz and Ziggler is going to steal the show at No Mercy, and this main event is only going to be good enough for second best fight honors, if I'm going to be real honest. Fight of the night here, 4 to 4.25 stars. Excellent match. There's really nothing left for me to say, except I think it's now time for our overall review, MF, and I believe I started off.
You get to lead off. Yes, you do. You get to lead off on the overall review. Now, I'm getting a lot of different scenarios from the Spotlight, which is a wrestling company that is on YouTube on Facebook. They gave this show an A+. As far as 411mania.com, their review, or so far, the critics has given this an 8 out of 10. However, viewers are giving it, the latest I saw, now I haven't updated it, but the last time I checked, just on viewer reaction, they gave this at least 8, almost 8.5 to 9 out of 10. Anthony Florio, we talked about this. What is your official rating for tonight's SmackDown Live from Cleveland, Ohio?
You want to know my official rating? I'm going to give you my official rating. I think 8 out of 10 is way too low for this show tonight. You and I, we talked about this after the show ended. We chatted for a little bit after the show ended, before we started getting ready for this. We already agreed on the rating, MF, and we're going to make it known to you fans right here and now. 9 to 9.5 out of 10 is the correct rating for this show. 8 out of 10 is way too low, if I'm being real honest. 9 to 9.5, that is the appropriate rating. Not quite a perfect 10, but almost a perfect 10. This was another very good episode of SmackDown Live. And I'm going to be real honest with you. You see it, you saw it in the header for this video here. Best SmackDown Live of the year? I'm going to answer that right here and now with a big, fat, resounding, oh, hell yeah. It was the best SmackDown Live of the year. Okay. The show remains focused with no wasted segments and everything building to the pay-per-view right now. The highlights this week, of course, were the Miz and Ziggler segment and the main event, which are both more than worth your time. The layout had a minimalist approach this week, but there was nothing bad. Orton and Wyatt finally took a step in the right direction. A more than solid and adequate job of building the match without them having tons of interactions or matches every week before the event. We weren't overrun with authority figures. Hey, if you noticed during the show, we didn't see Shane O'Mac or Daniel Bryan once tonight on this show. Whereas on Monday Night Raw, we saw several times we saw Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon. But unlike Raw, we were not overrun with authority figures, and everything just continues to click. SmackDown Live is a really fun and extremely easy watch these days. No doubt about it. And MF, we got into this during during our post chat, and I told you that we need to address this to our viewers right here and now, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's compare both shows right now. SmackDown Live, focused, storyline progression at its absolute finest, no squash matches, no campy comedy, funny haha BS, and no pointless and unnecessary filler. And you don't have no authority figures or authority shenanigans ruling the roost. They have a direction. They have a more than solid and adequate direction. Every feud going into No Mercy was spotlighted and showcased appropriately, correctly. And that's all there is to say on that. Let's look at Monday Night Raw. Am I a Raw guy? You damn right I'm a Raw guy. I'm going to bleed the Raw red till I die. But there are so many things wrong with Monday Night Raw right now. It's not even funny. And it is not. Believe me, it's nothing. It's no laughing matter. No direction. No storyline progression. Too many squash matches. Pointless and unnecessary filler. Funny haha nonsense. You got guest stars coming on the show, even though the guest stars that are coming up on this Monday's Raw are actually a couple of guys I actually like, in Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson, mainly because of their work on that 70s show, which was one of my favorite shows, back in the day, MF's too. And what else is there to say about it? And you got the authority figures running the show, Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love and respect and appreciate Stephanie and Mick Foley. I do. But they've got an angle going right now that's completely taking away from that show. And then throw in Triple H. Oy. Sounds like authority shenanigans to me. So, storyline progression, SmackDown Live, far and away better. Quality matches, well, you could say they're even, because Raw does have some good matches from time to time. Talent-wise, Monday Night Raw may have the better roster in terms of talent and depth and everything else, but as far as overall direction and overall focus, SmackDown Live has that and then some, hands down. And that's why SmackDown Live is continuously kicking Monday Night Raw's sorry ass each and every week since this whole thing started. How many good shows has Monday Night Raw given us since the brand extension started? A total of, let me see, carry the 3, 1. And that was the very first show. The very first Monday Night Raw after the brand extension was far and away the best Monday Night Raw. That was a 9 out of 10. And it featured that instant classic with Charlotte and Sasha Banks for the Women's Championship, where Sasha won the title. That was far and away the best Monday Night Raw since the brand extension started. Each and every week, Monday Night Raw shows have gone downhill and more downhill, and not in a good way, each and every week. Each and every week on Monday Night Raw, we're getting average, mediocre, lazy, predictable booking. SmackDown Live, all right, I'll admit it. The first show, not exactly our cup of tea. That first show, yeah, it was a meh show. And that was far and away their worst show. But each and every week since, SmackDown Live has been nothing, and I mean nothing, but consistent, each and every week. We're getting better quality matches. We're getting storyline progression at its absolute finest. And this show tonight, if you missed this show, I hope and pray to God you DVR'd it, because if you didn't, you're gonna regret it. You better have one of those fancy schmancy satellite packages that has that universal HD channel, which I'm fortunate enough to have. And if you have that channel, you go out of your way and you watch this SmackDown Live tonight, because this SmackDown Live tonight absolutely, positively knocked it out of the park. Ambrose and Styles with a world title match. That was unreal. Not exactly a 5-star classic, but it delivered. Fight of the night. Throw in a very solid 8-man tag team match with the Alphas and the champions, Slater and Rhino, against the Usos and the Ascension. That was a very good match. Yes, the women's match may have been the default worst fight of the night, but it was solid. Yeah, it was sloppy at times, but it was solid. Solid 2 stars. Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt finally took a step in the right direction with their feud. They finally impressed me with what they were doing. But the highlight of this show, as great as Ambrose and Styles was for the title, the far and away the highlight of this show for me was the segment with The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. You better go out of your way to watch that. 9 to 9.5 out of 10. Well done, SmackDown Live. This Raw guy, in the immortal words of Carmen Sandiego, this Raw guy salutes you. Nothing more to say. MF, how do you follow that?
9 to 9.5 out of 10 is my rating, and this was without a doubt the SmackDown of the year. This was without a doubt the best show of 2016. It doesn't matter if this was on Thursday night, if this was the new SmackDown Live. This is far and away the better show, and the ratings are starting to reflect it. Monday Night Raw for the last few weeks have been struggling to make over 3 million folks a week. And SmackDown is getting better and better and better, and it's rising. And it's about time that it takes its next step, and it is pushing that envelope. And they're doing the right thing. What was the one mission statement that Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon said that it was going to be about? It was going to be about the wrestling and not about the management. And damn it to hell, they have delivered in spades. And what they are doing now, it's SmackDown Live, is what they had said that they were going to do. They were going to make the show about the wrestlers, about the fans, and not about them. And this week, they totally delivered. We didn't even see Shane McMahon or Daniel Bryan once on the show tonight. They were not even there at all. So they were backstage, and they're just they're just letting the guys do what they got to do. They're just smiling and having a good time, and they're laughing themselves into the bank. And one question that was laid out, and they were like, man, could it be that Triple H and Shane are working together backstage? Because it felt like this felt better than anything else that they've seen in the past. And the thing is that no, it's not. Look, what it is that even done. You don't have Vince McMahon there. I don't think they're responsible for SmackDown. SmackDown must be run by guys like Michael P.S. Hayes, and there must be some guys out there who is producing the show, running the show, because Shane is, he is technically the guy, so they're probably letting him run the show with his crew, whoever he feels trustworthy enough, and everything else. And I'm telling you right now, guys, if this keeps going the way it's going, if it keeps trending the way it's trending, I'm telling you right now, SmackDown Live will overtake Monday Night Raw in ratings, and there's going to be that debate that this could become the new flagship show of WWE. And when that happens, this SmackDown fans are going to be ecstatic, over the moon over that type of news. So, nothing more to say, guys. We're going to dive right in. It's time for the Mikey's Mindset. Very little stuff we got this week. First off, we're going to dive right in, and we're going to go real quick. Of course, Ring of Honor Wrestling went down this week, and this is what we had. We had Pro Wrestling's last great man, Silas Young. He went up against New Japan Pro Wrestling, one half of the IWGP World Tag Team Champions, Toru Yano, who represents Chaos, which is my crew, which is led by the Rainmaker, Kushihara Okada. We actually got to see him last week. And the winner was Silas Young. He tried to do a beatdown. Well, guess what? He didn't get that far because he basically the next thing you know, the Briscoes showed up and they went and did their damage. Okay, next fight we had. Well, what we had next was a epic 5-star promo by Christopher Daniels as he was promoting the triple threat tag team ladder war that's going to go down at All-Star Extravaganza. This was epic, man. If you got to go out of your way. If you got, I think it's the Pulse channel. I know it's normally on WJ. It's on one of the JAR affiliates. I believe that's what it is. It's basically, well, it's channel 813 or 84. Okay, it's channel 814 for all you guys out there. In the wrestling world, basically what it is we had Ring of Honor. It's on Ring of Honor, and I believe it goes down on Wednesday at midnight. Then they do another re-air at 1 a.m. Please go out and basically see this. Go, like I said, go out of your way to see this. It's on the Comet channel. It's basically an affiliate of WJAR. This was amazing. Then we had Cheeseburger. He went up against Punisher Martinez, a part of the Punishment movement, and two interesting people was with him. That was with him in this situation. Of course, BJ Whitmer, you already know about him. But here's a name Anthony has not heard back since the days of WCW. The Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, showed up. And he's actually a part of BJ Whitmer's crew of this Punisher movement with Punisher Martinez. Martinez won the match. And in our main event of the evening for Ring of Honor, it was the Ring of Honor World Champion Adam Cole and Hangman Adam Page from the Bullet Club, and they went up against uh, Unbreakable Michael Elgin, who is the IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, and one of the biggest names in professional wrestling, one of the biggest names in Japan. They call him the ace of wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the John Cena of Japan, as they call him. He is a 7-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion of the world. And when it was all said and done, thanks to the Bullet Club, the winners were Adam Cole and Hangman Page. This show was a 7 out of 10. Great show. Nothing bad to say about that. Let's go really quickly to the main event. Let's go to Lucha Underground. This was another incredible show. It started with Dario Cueto's The Wheel of Misfortune, and this time around the wheel landed on the Mac. He gets a Lucha Underground world title fight against Matanza Cuerto. Matanza Cuerto successfully defends the title there. Then we had a big man fight. The man they call Cage versus the Plea Mega Copion, the world heavyweight champion of AAA in Mexico, Tejano Jr. This was an incredible matchup. It went up, and Tejano did win the match in this one. And in our main event of the evening, in a 6-person tag team fight, the sexy Talia Vicarin and her crew, the Worldwide Underground, went up against Aerostar, Drago, and Phoenix. Basically, it was an incredible match. The Worldwide Underground won it. But, ladies and gentlemen, after the fight, a major brouhaha broke out because of the fact that Sexy Star and Johnny Mundo both got involved. And this coming week on the show, get ready for an epic 8-person tag. Aerostar, Drago, Phoenix, and the Gift of God's champion, Sexy Star, goes up against PJ Black, Wolf. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank here. I think it's PJ Black. It's basically the entire crew of the Worldwide Underground. Basically, it's going to be an 8-person tag. Yes, PJ Black, Jack Evans, Talia Vicarin, and Johnny Mundo. They are all going to be in action against Aerostar, Drago, Phoenix, and Sexy Star. I'm just so amped right now. I totally drew a blank because of how epic this night has been. So with that said, that is it. We're going to put a bow on this tonight. On Thursday night is once again NF. Oh yes, it will be great. It will be an amazing time. Thursday night is College Football Thursday, and yes, the show is going to happen this Thursday. There is no going to be preemptive stuff, so you're guaranteed that show. Anthony has already said it's going to be a big week in college football. Absolutely, it's going to be a big week in college football. Conference plays begins, and we're going to have some big conference matchups, to say the very least. So we'll get into that on Thursday, including the power poll. Then Friday night is once again another edition of On the NFL Friday, we got some big matches there as well for week number 4 in the National Football League. There are some bye week teams in that battle. Don't worry about it. We're not going to cover the bye weeks. And a very, very, very interesting power rankings, to say the very least. Of course, Monday night is Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio, and we do this all again 1 week from tonight. Another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk with Smackdown Live. This time around, we're going to be in the 619 of San Diego, California. Until then, for Anthony Florio, I am good old MF, Michael Flecha. Thank you so much for watching this. Like this video. Leave a comment on your bottom. What did you feel about tonight's SmackDown Live? What is your rating? Do you agree with us? Or do you think it was a little more lower? Home to No Mercy. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. Have a good night, everybody. So long for now. We'll see you guys next week for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk.